can't. Proud of myself for figuring out how to do that.
All right, we are live. Live. Hello, welcome everyone to the show. I'm Ollie. Welcome to the Residents of Evil podcast, and I am joined by the wonderful Dimitrescu family. Did I say that right?
Dimitris.
Dimitrix. uh,
Yes.
we've got Maggie, who is Big Lady D, Alcina, and then Becca, you are Bella or Daniela?
BELA.
Bela, and then Nicole is Daniela.
Daniela.
Right. Well, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Nicole, welcome back. We've done this a few times. Maggie and Becky, you're both brand new. I'm so glad to have you on the show and to hang out here with us. And if you guys are in the chat, you want to ask questions, please do. I'll be keeping an eye out. I will do a better job of making sure I hit the super chats before they disappear on me, because I didn't realize they did that. But shoot them out there so we can jump into it, and we'll ask all these awesome questions, and we'll dive into the details of what it's like to make Resident Evil Village.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us today. Super fun. Hi, guys.
So I guess if you want to kind of go around and introduce yourselves a little bit for people who aren't familiar with you outside of your character. Nicole, we do know something about you, but what have you done since Resident Evil 3 came out?
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil Village. What do you mean, what have I done?
No, obviously. The Village.
Resident Evil 3 came out last year. Go. Where's your list?
I know, it's just a year. It's crazy.
Village, that's all right. Like, I can, it's pretty cool. Hi guys. I'm Nicole. I act. I've had the pleasure of getting to act in some very, very cool video games, including Resident Evil 3. I did a Lord of the Rings game, and now I'm here back in Village, and I couldn't be happier to be sharing this space with these two amazing women and very talented actors, and of course our friends here at Residents of Evil.
And Becca, how was it you transitioning to something like this video game world on this level?
Well, it's probably auditioning for years is how I transitioned. Rosanna Sun of the Workhouse cast and produced, and she cast me actually for the first time probably 8 or 9 years ago in a game that was an amazingly big game that somebody leaked and it disappeared.
Oh.
So yeah, it was probably the biggest heartbreak of my career. But now I feel like it's made up for it.
Yeah.
I finally have made it into this level. I so adore her and appreciate her because she believes in, people. Like once you get a casting director who believes in you, that's gold. And I probably have a couple, probably just 2 that I really, really adore, and she's one of the 2. And so she brings me in, and then so I would, go different phases of the audition, callbacks, and make it to the top 2, and then it's like, so finally, BELA, I got in.
And especially a producer at her level, because she's huge in the industry. She's done so many great things, and to have that relationship with her, got to have a good, networking, a good friendship there as well.
Absolutely, it's just so. You have to appreciate somebody who believes in you in general, and it keeps calling you back. You're like, I love you,
Definitely.
Like Rosanna Sun, to have Rosanna Sun believe in you is you just you're doing something right.
She's a sweetheart, so I'm just super grateful to her for bringing us back again and again, for these projects and to throw us up there.
Yeah, for sure. And Maggie, to step into the world of Resident Evil on such a major character, all over the promotional work. I mean, this kind of like the star of the show. How was that? Just that for you?
It's been so wild. I do have to echo all of the Rosanna Sun sentiments here because she really is an actor's advocate. And I mean, hello, I was an unknown. So she and Capcom really took a chance on me and brought me into the fold. And I'm so, so appreciative. And she's had my back this entire time as well. And just kind of helping to guide me through this very brand new process. But yeah, no, I think interestingly enough, obviously I'm clueless, right? So I've never done this before. And I'm just like, oh, cool. I'm happy to be here. Blah, blah, blah. Rosanna, I think, started to clue in because she would make comments to me like, I think this is going to be a big character. I think fans are going to love her. And I'm like, that'd be nice. Sure. Hope they do. And then once Lady D blew up in the first, whatever trailer she first appeared in, I sent her an email. I was like, you called it. You were right. You win.
It was crazy to see. Just, I don't know. I mean, obviously the sex appeal behind her character, this giant 9'6" woman that everybody wanted to have, her choke you out. But at the same time, just the appeal, like as a general character, the interest, I guess, behind her. and the demos we got to play just kind of added on to it to make her such an interesting character and a villain in the series. To really stand out too amongst the others, they all have their own unique, interesting sides to them. And then the fact that she was the one that was marketed the most, I think, was a smart decision as well.
Yeah, stands out literally and
Yeah.
figuratively in every way. Love her so much. No, I think it's so cool. She really is an icon. She's kind of the first of her kind, and
Mhm.
I think that resonates with a lot of people because you're starting to see more diversity and representation in media and video games. And it's really, really cool. And also, just on a personal note, like, I'm also a tall girl, and I've had so many other tall girls reach out to me and say how meaningful it is to have this figure be a sex symbol, because sometimes we are and sometimes we aren't. It can you're either fetishized or you are deemed too masculine. So I think it's really special to be able to have that impact and to give people hope and help people see themselves on screen in a way. So I love that so much. I've been loving the fan response.
She's a very imposing character as well. So yeah, I mean, she's got that side of her, but she's a monster in her old rights as well too, which is really cool about it, is that she can scare the crap out of you. When you hear
Oh
those
yeah,
footsteps behind you, you better run.
she's a powerful lady. Like,
Yeah.
don't mess.
Yeah.
Don't wait around. You don't want her to step on you. Trust me.
As much as you might want to, I don't recommend it.
Oh,
And
I saw a video. There was a guy who actually scientifically went through, and I forget everything about it, so apologies. I
oh,
won't be
right,
able to
right.
correct you, but he literally went through the science
Mhm.
of what would happen if Lady D stepped on you. And I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
crazy.
it would not feel good.
No.
And
Have like a stalker character though that has a personality and like has a family and like has a whole, voice and history
Mhm.
behind them too. I personally was just so proud and so excited for Maggie and so excited to like see her character be like one of those OG like stalker feeling things, but then also just have this whole history, and I just think that's really neat.
It's a very interesting history too. The daughters included, being experiments of Mother Miranda, to Maggie being the most, I guess, successful of her experimentations, the one who took the best, and then the creation of the daughters. I had no idea that was going to be their backstory. It was really, really cool to see how the daughters came about.
We didn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, how did they come about?
And then the concept of them being a collection of flies, basically, that create these, attractive, horrible things. They're trying to kill you and drink your blood the whole time. The family in general was a really cool aspect. We haven't seen something on that level, I don't believe, of and this scale too, for the whole game, all the different houses and all the different families. But to have, the Dimitrescu family and the daughters being in the castle, being hunted by 4 of them, it was awesome.
Well, kudos to the writers who
Yeah.
developed a ton of strong women in this game. Donna's a strong woman, Miranda's a strong woman. We have a ton of strong bad women.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like seriously, and it's awesome to be part of a game that's not just like one lead female character, but it's like a plethora of us, and it's super exciting.
This is the most I think we addressed this before, that this is definitely the most female characters we've had in one game, whether it's villains or heroes. But usually there's 1 or 2. It's a good mix, but I like that there's an emphasis that they brought in a lot of great women actors as well to come in and portray these characters.
And I love them as villains too.
Yeah.
Like I love how you them are villains.
Yeah.
I do.
And their performances were awesome. All of them. The creepiness of the daughters, and then Maggie, you're just like I said, the imposing attitude that you brought to Lady D it's horrifying, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
It's so funny. Those compliments are always like, you're horrific. I love you so much.
Right. Nicole, how was it returning with your cast members? I know you guys are really close with Jeff and Neil.
Literally Christmas. It was
Yeah.
the best thing ever. Steve Kniebly, who directed the
Yep.
performance capture for RE3, also did all of the performance capture direction for Resident Evil Village. And so it was like coming into, some old family and also like getting a whole bunch of new family.
Right.
There's so many people in this game and so many incredibly talented people. So I just felt so grateful to one, work with people that I've worked with before that are so talented and amazing and really good at their jobs, and then meet a whole bunch of new people that I feel the exact same way about. So it just extends the family for sure. And just to be included was really special.
Yeah, meeting the cast from Seven, the ones that were brought over, and then bringing in the new actors like Maggie and Becca. What was it like for you two to step into this world with people who have already been there for Resident Evil, that already had the experience, and you both have got a pretty good collection of work behind you for whether it's theater or motion cap performance work. But to join this cast, what was the experience like?
I've got to say, this cast was amazing. There's something really special about working with people who are just really good at what they do. And that goes all around for the whole Capcom team, the animators and developers. When you walked into the volume, you could feel in the air that everyone is here to get to work and everyone is operating at the top of their craft. And that doesn't happen all the time. And it's a really special experience to know that everything is being really well taken care of. I trust everyone around me because everyone's operating at such a high level.
Right.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Take it away,
that's
Becca.
very true about the high level. These games are knocked out quickly, so you step in and you get to work and you do what you got to do and enjoy it in the process. But they definitely go pretty fast.
Oh yeah, it was mind blowing. I mean, this was my first performance capture experience, and we, the actors, are just one very small piece of this giant puzzle. And we came in, I think I came in about 2 years ago, so I've been working on the game for 2 years, but it's been in the works for years and years before that. And these guys and developers at Capcom have been working on it for freaking ever. And so it's so cool to hear them talk about the story because they know it inside and out, and the passion that they have behind it. They were so excited to show us our characters and the renderings that they created. And yeah.
Were there any changes to your characters before that you saw beforehand when you were stepping into the roles that maybe have developed into something later, or did they pretty much
I
stay
have no
consistent?
clue.
Okay.
Like honestly, I think we're in the dark about a lot of stuff. Like we
Right.
really had bare minimum information going into it, and so it was up to us to kind of craft something, and then hope we are guessing right. We told if we were. I'm a huge Capcom fan. I've done voiceover since like the 90s, and got into animation about 10 years ago. And I've been to the Descendants video game, and I've done like Evil Within voiceover, and I was Vicon's mocap actor. But then Capcom cast you in Resident Evil, and it's like there's a whole new ball game. You know, you just taking it up to like, because like Maggie was saying, like they're artists.
Right.
I mean, the aesthetics, their writing, the development. Like you know, you're part of something. I mean, this franchise is 25 years old, and
Mhm.
it's just getting better and better and better. And it's brilliant. They're brilliant, and the work is so compelling. So to be a part of something like that is such an honor. Like Maggie was saying, you know you're in something special, and you're in great hands, and you know you're just like, for 2 years, don't say a word, but this is
So excited.
So hard not breaking that NDA,
Yeah.
staying silent, especially when she was blowing up. I was just like, don't
Yeah.
say anything.
I'm like, we made it in. We made it in.
Pictures back and forth of like fan art before we were able to announce. I kept like sending Maggie, being like, check this one out. Look at look
And
how
thank God, because I needed somebody to freak out with.
Right. You can't tell anyone. You got to celebrate with someone. It's like,
Yeah.
I'll go through some of these super chats we've had come in here. James the Shapeshifter, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, hello, everyone. I just want to say now that how impressed I am that you could not laugh while doing the full acting for the game. Were there any scenes, I think, in there that really that were awkward or funny that, you know, made people laugh, or were there accidents? Some of these scenes, some of these you know, things that came up that made everyone break out.
I mean, I'm proud of that Becca take this away, but I feel like the witch sisters first like grabbing onto Ethan. Becca has some super funny stuff, just like all up in with a giant hook, and
Yeah.
we just in the background and go.
See,
It's a
the
laugh.
Scythe, there were numerous Scythe renditions. Okay, so the first one I got was kind of like a Nerf Scythe, meaning it was all foam and it was huge and wiggly. So when I would start, and there are markers, you know, the markers that we have on
Right.
our suits are on the Scythe, but the Scythe wasn't stiff. Sorry, you know, it was like this. And so
Yeah.
I'm like trying to hit Todd, and like literally it would like just go all over the place. And I'm like, this does not look intimidating, you know. And it was, I think, like 3 sites to get it right. And I'm just like literally like trying to make it look like badass. And I'm like, I'm losing it here. It's not looking good. And so I think the last one was more of a harder plastic, which was great because it stood, you know, it was more intense looking when I came down with it. But the problem with that, of course, was, you know, when you hit the other actor. I'm sorry, Don. I grazed him, and I'm like, you're literally trying to hit basically between his legs every time without hitting anything.
Right.
You know? And at one point, you know, one of the last takes, I actually just grazed him. And I'm like, I'm going, you know, do it. No, I hit him. I acted like it's not a big deal. Keep going. And then I run to him at the end. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
He's like, he's probably been very beat up. Between the last 2 games, his character takes, yeah, I'm sure he's definitely got some bruises.
Hands of steel.
Another one here comes from Andrew Antoni, maybe? $5 super chat. Happy to see strong women making a breakthrough in the industry and the RE universe. I think we all agree with that.
Yay.
Some very, and just their shift in general. Yeah, they've always had very strong women characters, which is great about Capcom. Yep. And I feel with the remakes and then 7 and 8, they've only upped the ante for everyone included. And then we have Mr. Nice Shy always comes in huge, $100 super chat. Thank you so much. You're amazing as usual. Says, hello, question for Maggie and Becca. Were you familiar with Resident Evil prior to this project? Love your work in Village and enjoyed being torn apart by all of you. Shout out to Nicole, Badass Vampire, and Miss Valentine. Rose Squad, # Alpha Team.
I've had Resident Evil auditions before, in fact, and I've been trying to get into this game for about a decade. So yes,
so you finally got there.
Mission, for a very, very long time. So yeah, Maggie.
But you did it, girl, and you got a killer roll, and you smashed it. Heyo. It's so funny. I'm actually not a gamer, so I never grew up playing the games, but even I, this lowly regular person, had heard of the franchise Resident Evil. And what's interesting is I didn't even know what I had booked until the table read, because none of us did. And then I got there and you could feel this excitement in the air, and people are whispering excitedly and hushed tones. And then I went home afterwards and I was like, okay, what am I in? What can I Google to figure out based on context clues in the script that I have in front of me, what game I'm in? And once I figured that out, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I've booked something really big. Yeah, I think this is a big deal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just made it into a cool one.
I might have just booked something really major, because at the time I thought I was unrepresented. I had self-submitted for this project, and I was like, oh, I'll just apply to this probably low budget non-union voiceover gig. Whatever. Okay. And then it was so much more than that. So yeah, I'm pretty much clueless the whole time.
Now you're a major character.
My entire journey in Resident Evil is clueless.
In a major franchise.
They keep us in the dark as much as possible, right? Because even at the table read, we didn't get the script. First of all, we only got I think Act 1, and I only got I get manila envelopes, and we all have code names, so we don't know what the project's name is. And then in manila envelopes, you only have your scenes. Mm-hmm. So if Maggie was on page 24 and 28, 29, she doesn't have 1, 2, 3, or 4, and so we're like, what does yours say?
Yeah.
Think to hear what lines are said. I'm like, I wonder who that character is, because you don't even know. Heisenberg, I don't know who that is. It's on my paper, So I'm like, somebody's talking. I wonder what that character is. Really, we're clueless. We can't really know much because we don't know much.
Right. Yeah, they it's very hush hush, and then the NDA behind it, so you wouldn't even be able to talk about it unless maybe with each other. But to take on such a huge Capcom major franchise and have to be quiet about it and not even know, what point did you find out that it was really Resident Evil?
For me, it was a table read, because somebody leaked. Somebody said Chris Redfield at the table read. I heard it, and so I was like, "Wait, what?" And I can't remember who it was, and I literally was like, "As in Resident Evil."
As in the Chris Redfield?
I was like, am I in?
And you were brought in for not only the characters, the main characters you play, but a lot of side characters as well, which is pretty awesome. That you're the cast was very big, but at the same time they knew how to utilize everyone and fill spaces they needed to fill. Like I picked up Nicole, Elena's voice was immediate. I heard it and I was like, well, that's Nicole. I can pick up Nicole's voice. And then, but I didn't recognize you as one of the daughters until the game came out and you announced it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So multiple roles is awesome.
It's so funny. Some people are like, I didn't recognize you as Elena at all. And some people are like, oh God, it was so clearly Elena. You were so clear. And some like it's weird what people hear because all three of my Resident Evil voices are all slightly different. Obviously, they're all me, but it's fun to hear what people like did pick up and didn't pick up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's a dream.
Maggie, how was your reaction stepping into the Resident Evil world? Once you realized what it was, and then, like I said, we kind of went over the reception, but just the whole takeaway from it.
It's more than anything I ever could have imagined. I knew Resident Evil was a big deal, but this whole process for me is such an honor and a privilege. I mean, it is mind-blowing. Every day I am flabbergasted that this is my life, and it so easily could have not happened. I could have not checked the breakdowns that day and decided not to apply or whatever. It's crazy how you could easily have been in a completely different place and tipped the needle the other way. And so I feel so incredibly lucky to be here. I can't even believe that this is my life. And performance capture for me really was kind of a lightning bolt moment. I had been an actor for a long time, but there was something about being in the volume, doing this type of work that really clicked in for me. And the first day I was there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it for me. I really get this. And now I've kind of reoriented my life more in that direction as opposed to theater or on camera, which is initially what I was trying to pursue the most. So now I'm all PCAP, I'm all voiceover all the way. I love that stuff. So it's especially special for me because it feels this gig not only offered me the opportunity of a lifetime but it's also given me what I believe to be actually my true calling, where I just feel like I found it. I'm here.
Just feels natural. It feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's special in every sense of the word for me. Yeah.
And he's full of so many voices too. So she was just needing to find this because
like,
I think I was always going to find voiceover at some point. It was just a matter of time. But like, my God, what an entrance to make with this! Like,
yeah, right.
Me, what?
And I saw that when I was looking through your history and going through some of your demos and stuff, and you have a wide variety of voices. You're very talented for voice work.
I'm a crazy lady. I was always that kid doing the weird voices growing up. It's like so bonkers to me that I didn't put two and two together long before this, because when I look back at my career and the choices that I've made, my work has always been voice centric. And so it feels like 1 + 1 = voiceover to me.
Yeah, definitely. It's a natural fit.
Yeah.
Well, just because I've seen it a couple times in chat, I would love to just address our missing link.
Yes, for sure.
Our darling Jeanette Moss. I've seen several questions in chat of people asking, what was Jeanette like? And I think all of us can attest that she was an absolute light, a total badass, and truly just a pleasure to get to work with and to be part of the family. And we were very, very heartbroken when she passed, and we're also so glad that we get to have her memorialized in some way in this game.
For sure. Her and Sarah were childhood friends. They went to school, and Aaron as well. So Sarah was, kind of talking about some of the memories they had, and she seemed like a wonderful person. And she's, her legacy is going to live on forever with the Dimitrescu family. So it's, at least it's a nice thing that we as fans and get to experience her great work in that. And then
she was such a firecracker. I just remember, because again, hi, I'm clueless and I'm in the volume for the first time and just trying to learn everything I could. And the whole cast in general was incredibly welcoming and open to me. And Jeanette was especially one of those where she was so unabashedly herself and so grounded in who she was as a person. And so you were able to instantly just connect with her and feel like, oh, I can be me too, because you're you and you're open and welcoming and receptive to all. And yeah, she was a really good person.
I've got a few more, and then the super chats are coming in like crazy right now. Thank you everybody for not only supporting but asking your questions. The next one, so that was Enterplas, $2 super chat was asking about how was it with Jeanette, and we had a few of those come through. So again, I think her performance is phenomenal, and it's good to always have that. And then you guys all have the memories of working with her and making this, such a great game for everyone.
And she had so much fun doing this too, like doing all the House Dimitrescu with the sisters. You guys are bonkers, and I could just feel the energy of you guys playing off of each other when we were filming those scenes. And I know she had so much fun. There was even a time when we were doing ADR, and she was coming in for a session right after me, so I got to just sit and watch Rosanna let me, and I was like, ooh, yes. It was so cool to see. Super, super cool.
Also Roxanne. Not as many people know that. She was Roxanne in The Village.
Yeah, yeah.
Roxana. Which she had a blast because she got to do like a very epic, like getting eaten by a lichen.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
She gets an epic on-screen death.
Mm-hmm.
A big on-screen death.
Dope.
Yeah, with in that scene, it's because it's Sarah's in that scene with her, so she said that that scene was such a great moment because they got to perform together in it and share that scene and share those memories. And then Sarah kept forgetting some of her lines, so Jeanette would pull her corner and kind of like, you got to do this, this, and this.
Let someone have your back for sure.
Yeah.
But when I said earlier, this game is full of strong female characters, I would say it's also full of strong female actors.
Yes, exactly. Strong female actors definitely make the strong female characters so much stronger.
Absolutely, a bunch of powerhouse women in this
right.
game.
Girl power.
The Waltman 4 $5 super chat says, I said it before and I'll say it again. Capcom didn't expect Lady D to be the biggest meme out of all this and took that advantage with marketing. Were you surprised, Maggie, about how popular she took off and all the memes that were generated around her?
Oh,
she took over the internet.
Oh, yeah. No, it's crazy. And especially now that it's been released, I mean, she really has permeated pop culture in a way that I've never seen happen with a character from a game before. My friend, for instance, the other day, she texted me saying, "You've conquered the weather," and showed me a picture of her weather app, which had something like, "If being chased by a tall vampire lady is wrong, then I don't want to be right." On her weather app.
On her weather
app. What?
That's crazy.
Or I don't know, Domino's Malaysia had some marketing thing where they used Lady D and she's holding a giant pizza, and I was like, what is happening? What is my life? This is wild.
Was there a meme that stuck out with you that you thought was just hilarious and was just perfect?
All of them.
All of them.
Every single one made me chortle and gave me great pleasure. I don't know. There was a GIF at some point of the guy who's in the Speedo on the beach and he's like running away, but it's like, oops, oh no, I fell down. Oh no, oh my god! Like that one got me.
Yeah, another channel that does game reviews had something like that. They do these awesome sketches in between. And they had the same thing of the guys playing the main character and he's running away, and then another guy's dressed as Lady D stalking him and he's just doing, oh no, don't catch me. Yeah, there's a lot of people who fell in love with Lady D very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
I don't know how to say this person. Oh yeah, maybe I do. Seiko Excalibur, $5 super chat, says, question for Maggie. What is Lady D's accent and where did you find the inspiration for her voice?
Yes, I believe her accent is what we call transatlantic.
Mm-hmm.
It's neither here nor there. It's not really American where you can't place it to a specific area in American, nor is it really British, but it's heightened in a certain
Mm-hmm.
way. How did I find inspiration for that?
Because you do a lot of voices.
I do, and I think, well, I love playing villains, so it's never a hardship for me to play a villain. And I kind of liked making her arch because that's kind of how I describe the accent. It's not really one thing or another, but it's just a bit arch. And she does have that immense pride. So I think I was working from that sense of pride and sense of superiority she has to the people and creatures around her. And what would that sound like? But yeah.
And I felt that about her and the family, especially her because she was the matriarch of the family. Is that she had a very, like you said, a proud disposition. Like she came from some kind of royalty before, Whereas in, someone like Heisenberg, who was an engineer, but he didn't really fit with that, royalty feeling that I get when you look at Lady D. I mean, Lady D has her own castle. So
Yeah, she's very upper class. She's very regal, and that totally influences all of the physical movements as well. When you're playing high status, you don't want to give away, if you move too much, you're giving away your power and you're exerting too much energy. So for me, it was about finding her stillness and making every movement very specific. Or I think I talked about this on Nicole's stream the other day.
Mhm.
Once I had the hat on top of the helmet, that allowed me to play with the brim of the hat. And then you kind of see the hat is curved in a way, and
Mhm.
that helped me find this more cyclical movement quality to her, when nothing is ever in a straight line. If she's going to move her hands, it's going to be more fluid and curved in that way. So all of that was really fun to play with.
That's really interesting. I like you breaking that down. Just something as simple as her movements and how you're defining this character within yourself and how to bring her to life.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie, your camera is blurry.
Yeah, you went a little blurry on us there.
Oh no.
While
don't know
you're
why.
looking at that, Becca Fiore or Flory, I can't tell. It's I'm copying from chat and putting them in a different window, so that way I'm not losing anybody's super chats here. $10 super chat says, Maggie, what was the hardest part of playing someone over 9 foot tall? Asking as a short girl who can't begin to imagine. Also, she loves all of you so much.
Oh no. Okay, hold on. Please hold while I figure out my blurry camera.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, that's one. And then let's go back to it to try to get, there we
There
go.
we go. There we go.
Here we are. Here we are. Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay. What was the hardest part of playing someone over 9 feet tall? Coming from a person who's shorter, they said they can't imagine also that they love all of you so much.
Well, thank you so much for the love. Really, really appreciate that. I think most of the time I was just concentrating on me, and I'm already quite tall. So I was just letting that do the work and knowing that the animators would help me out in the 9'6" department. I wasn't trying to be 9'6". I knew that they'd do that for me. But what was it? Some of the interesting things are, in terms of scaling, she's so much taller than everybody else. So if you're acting in a scene with me, if you were to look me in the eye and we'd be doing this scene, which is what normal actors do and people do, the scaling would be off. So the other actors in my scenes would actually be looking up a little bit. They'd have to move their eye line up, and then I would have to be looking down at kind of hip height for people. So it was a weird experience where you're acting in a scene with someone, but they're here and you're there, and you're never looking each other in the eye, but yet you're directing all of your lines to each other and having this dialogue back and forth. So that was a bit bizarre and weird. And then the other thing that I had to think about, because she's 9'6", she's going to weigh a lot more than the average bear. And that's going to impact the quality of her movement. So I pretty consciously had to think about slowing down my steps, because otherwise she would look like she wasn't carrying enough weight on her body. If I was moving too quickly, then she would be like floating in space somewhere and it would look weird.
Yeah.
So slow it down, bring in the weight, add some extra weight into your movements to help create that sense that she's massive.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't think you really think about that much, especially as a person who's playing the game. But that there's a weight that comes to this character, and you have to adjust your body and your movements accordingly to show that this person is carrying that weight. And then you've got the stick. What was the stick with the foam's name? It had a name, didn't it?
I don't know if it had a name. We just called her Lady D, or
oh, okay.
Yeah. But that, I mean, as far as I am aware, that was just for, I think the actors just use that to help them, right, for line of sight of where to direct their eye lines in those moments where we're acting with each other but not looking at each other.
Right.
So as far as the actors are concerned, I think that's what we used it for. But yeah,
I think my favorite thing was that Lady D had her own door to go through. She had her own and we had a different door to go through. Different door sizes, even though, and then in all of their mocap magic, of course, it's the same door, but she always had a different door, and we had a slightly taller door.
Yeah, you always had the
door that I had to duck down.
Duck down to go through. Was that door, because you're not wearing the stick unless you're actually in a scene with someone, but when you're filming like this scene where Ethan's watching Lady D at the, her vanity, and as she throws it, I saw, they released the behind the scenes for that. You're not wearing the thing on your head the whole time, that giant stick. So is this door that they made to simulate just shorter? and you just dip under a PVC
Oh,
bar type thing.
that's exactly it. And also it was not something that I actually wore on my body, the big
Mhm.
stick.
Was somebody behind you
Somebody was behind me
carrying
holding it
it?
up because, I'm too busy worrying about like where to hold my cigarette and
Right.
blah, 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 blah. So that was not one of in my job description, but certainly with the door frames, it was pretty much just PVC pipe, and they've scaled it down so that, it
It makes you
looks
dip at least.
appropriate
Yeah.
to my personal height, as opposed to, I'm not 9'6". So for a 6 foot tall person, where would that door sit for me? And then
Mhm.
I would have to go underneath.
With your
So yeah.
hat, the back half of the hat they made
The
for you
helmet
on the
hat,
helmet. Yeah, the
weird
helmet.
contraption that was so nice looking. I felt really attractive every time I wore that.
We wore mocap heels and we looked fantastic.
Yeah.
We actually did have mocap heels on. We had like boots with wedges, like little booty shoes with wedges.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you filmed? I think you have, right? With the Becca, you've done some mocap in the past, haven't you? Performance. So
Yes.
you're used to the suits and everything. And Maggie, you're still relatively new to the mocap.
Yeah, still relatively new, but yeah, working on it. Just
Yeah.
had a mocap shoot the other week as well. So
Hmm.
it's all fun.
How was it being in the suits and stuff? I mean, is this a newer experience, but on this level for multiple weeks and stuff that you guys are filming? What was that transition? Not transition, but that I guess getting used to it.
You feel like an astronaut. I felt like I was in space. I was like, blast off, ready to go. Blah, blah, blah. It was cool. I think once I put on the suit, I was like, oh,
This
this
is
is
time.
real.
Yeah.
This is happening. We're in it now. So that was cool.
It feels like kids' playtime for me. Like you're in your pajamas. Like, okay,
Yeah.
now you can play.
With the several $1,000 camera around your head.
I didn't say the helmet was playtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the mocap suit. You get that on, you're like, oh.
It's all about the Velcro hugs. That's where we're gonna leave it.
The Velcro hugs. Adrian Jordan with the $9.99, so $10 super chat. Says, I have a favorite out of all of you, but all of you are inspiring. All of you are history makers for women. You have paved the way for young women, and it's an honor to see your God-given gifts. I think I don't have a favorite out of all of you. I think they love all of you equally.
Thank you. We love you.
Anubis King with a RON. I don't know what currency that is for 10. Did you guys try any Romanian accents when you were? Because we discussed this, I think, in our review, and I'm not sure if Neil had mentioned this, or maybe Sarah at some point, that they decided not to do anything with accents, just to do the transatlantic and carry it on from there. Was there any in the beginning stages of auditioning or during the development process? Was that ever addressed? Did you guys ever discuss that? Possibly doing Romanian accents? Or was
I once heard, like, for a split second, like, oh, there might be Romanian accents. And I was like, oh, what? Okay, great. And then almost the next day it was like, no, there's no Romanian accents. They don't want the accents.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, okay. So it was not a long discussion. I think it was very quickly decided that they didn't want to do the Romanian accents.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I guess it could be more of a challenge. Why, at this point, it's already difficult enough to make a game. Let's go with the direction that we're getting, and let's just make it the best that we can. And I think it doesn't take away from anything. It's still a phenomenal game as it is. And then Leonidas Kennedy with a $5 super chat says, "Jill, no, you turned to the dark side." all of you were great. Also, I give all of you a Leon S rank.
Thank you.
Sexy Mike with 10 euros, I believe that is. Thanks for all your great work that you did. And Lucifer Sind, ISK. There's so many currencies, I don't know what these are. You know what ISK is? Anyone? No idea.
You were having viewers all over the place.
Yeah, they're coming from everywhere.
That is the cool, like, it really is a global reach.
It really is.
It's really, really cool. Yeah.
People from everywhere love the series.
Mm-hmm.
Must sound like a broken record. Becca, Nicole, Maggie, you ladies rock. All hail House Dimitrescu.
Yes. All hail.
The 80s
Bring honor to the
slasher
house.
with a super chat says, how did you prepare for your role as villains? I guess Nicole, coming from the heroine, from being Jill to being the villain, you probably got to have a good time just to, goof around and really get into it.
I just saw from Andrew that ISK is Iceland, I think.
Iceland. Okay, thank you.
I don't know if that's true. Yeah,
Hello, Iceland.
Thank you.
Iceland. I've heard it's beautiful. Yeah, hero to villain. I mean, the difference is just everything's amusing to a villain, and like life is just not as hard. The heroes are like always, life is just really hard, and for the villains, it's like just hard. So it was fun. As far as preparation, I think it was more once we got on the stage, sort of deciding how do we want the ladies to walk, eye lines, what's the energy of how they interact with each other, where do we want them to live vocally, and for me at least, like a lot of that was decided like on the stage and in the ADR booth. So
Okay.
yeah.
And Becca, did you guys have any kind of back and forth as the daughters? Because they're all similar in their attitudes. Like they're very carefree, I guess, playful. Obviously wanted to play with Ethan. And was that as a result of you guys getting together and then the writing and just kind of bouncing that energy off of each other?
Direction, actually. We were told you were given direction, each of us, and I'm not sure how their characters changed or may have changed, but for me, they had said that you are the eldest sister, you are the responsible, in control one. Kind of like, well, first of all, villains are in my wheelhouse. It's like one of the types of characters I get cast in a lot. I like playing demented. Like it's just fun to be crazy.
It's so fun.
Yeah, and so my direction for Bela was you're in charge, in control. You're the responsible one. Cassandra, I think, was more. She was more of a sadist. She was more for the hunt. And Nicole, you have to talk about your direction you were given. But I was told, I said, well, how do you? Because I played for the auditions and the callbacks. I would play, Bela different ways. And I'm like, I played her childlike, and I've played her like angry, and I've played her more of a sadist. And they're like, no, we want you to go with your own natural sultry nature. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just played her kind of like the temptress who likes to, play with her prey.
Yeah.
So more coy, more playful, because she's enjoying it. And they all enjoy it.
Yeah.
But they have different, like the other two sisters annoy me because they're not together like I am. Like what? Like the older sister in charge attitude.
Yeah.
Such a super fun. Nicole?
I love that so much. I didn't realize that, but I can totally see all of those family dynamics at play in your performances. So that's so cool.
They just told me that I was I was the youngest is what I found out, and that I don't want to use the word like crazy. They tossed around a couple things. They just wanted her to be like a little more just kind of insane, but also very flirtatious. They're all pretty flirtatious.
Yeah.
So I just got to play with like being young and stoked and like really wanting attention, which is kind of fun to tap into if you're like a youngest sister, just kind of paying attention.
Were there any inspirations taking because they're witches and / vampires? Excuse me. From the tales of Dracula himself, like his brides. I think a lot of us thought that these sisters were more along the lines of the brides of of Dracula. Was any of that pulled into the development process or the direction?
They did not tell us anything about that. They didn't mention it. They didn't bring it up. I've seen some people doing like comparison videos and stuff like that, which is very cool, but it wasn't brought to us. We pretty well were given like 3 witch sisters in black dresses. Here's what they look like. Here's what they want. Go.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, until we got the script, we were originally cast as 3 witch sisters, and the vampires weren't mentioned at all. And I'm like, oh, there's blood. Oh,
They're
okay. So then you print.
They're witchy.
I think would you say? I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I just said, yeah. I mean, they were vampires. They're not even really witches, but they're witchy.
Right. They're witchy.
But I think, I don't know, for me as an actor, I've seen Dracula as a kid, the old fashioned black and white going back that far, but I didn't like start watching Twilight or start watching, Van Helsing. I like to not copy other performances.
Right.
I like to just obviously tried to find something within myself, and knowing the history of vampires in general, and craft something. So I think that's important, is to, create something new and original, and not be a mirror image of something in the past. I don't think any of us were trying to, grab from something and be that thing. I think we're all trying to craft, Bela, Cassandra, Daniela.
Right, your characters, make them your own. Definitely. Let me jump on to some more of these super chats. Let's see. Cascade wanted to do a shout out. I think I'm probably just going to start naming the names off because I don't, like I said, I don't know some of the currencies and I don't want to disrespect anybody. So, but they just want to do a shout out for Paul Haddad, who would have been his birthday today, who passed away last year.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Birthday, Paul.
Happy birthday, Paul.
And then we have Louis Gibbo says, no question, but a wave from all of you would make my night.
A wave?
A wave. There you go. Let's see. And then Princess Queen CV says, congratulations to all of the women in this game. You all become big inspirations to me becoming an actress. My question is, what were the inspirations behind all of your voices? Now, we talked about the transatlantic. Was there any other direction they wanted? Like we talked about the playfulness. Any other notes they gave you? Or is it just trying out different things until they said, yeah, I think that'll work right there?
Mostly that. I feel like it's a lot of like, well, how about this? Okay, a little higher. Okay, a little more playful. A little more what? A little more this, a little more that. And then just sort of end up where they want. For me, it was like making sure that they sound, different enough.
Right.
For me, like, honestly, like, this is the first game, maybe the first voiceover in a long time where I actually got to play my voice. Like, I played everything from a little girl, like, who's going to the market with her mommy, and to like, just the various ranges of like voices. And it was like, I asked, and they're like, no, we want you to actually be like your voice when you do that.
Right.
Do that thing again, so it was fun to actually kind of play Bela. I just slowed her down and make her a little more methodical. But yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and listen for those now. It's such, the game is so fast, especially when you're going up against the sisters, because it's a turn and run, basically. You can't do anything to hurt them, so get out of there until you actually fight them one-on-one. And even that's a bit of a chaotic fight because you're in a small circle area, you're fighting, trying to do the mechanics. To go back and listen now, I want to go back and pick up on the little intricacies that you put into each of your voices, especially the sisters, because they're not as big in the whole scheme of the castle as like Lady D stomping after you and constantly yelling at you.
She likes to yell a lot.
Yeah. She loves yelling at Ethan.
She sure does.
I cannot pronounce this, but they said, with the Dimitrescu family being powerful ladies, what are your thoughts on the fandoms that winds up sexualizing them? Do you think that helps or hurts the characters? And we've kind of gone over that. There was a lot of stuff that's come out in the meme wise and stuff like that did sexualize the characters. But there's also a lot of people that love having these strong, powerful villains and just women in general being featured. On each side, do you think it's a plus, I guess, or does it take away from the performances?
I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they're very strong characters, and they're also very sensual characters. Like, there's no denying that all four of them are intentionally sexy and intentional. You know what I mean? Like, there's very intentional choices there. So I don't know. I don't think there is a plus or minus. It's not mutually exclusive. You can be a badass and sexy as heck.
Exactly. Yeah, it shouldn't be exclusive. Just the performances should be the work. That's what we appreciate. So it's objective, or subjectively for a person to take them on, and you're going to determine what you feel about these characters regardless. So
totally. Go ahead, Becca.
Yeah, I agree with Nicole, but I also think that like I say, I've seen some images that are just like, they've made them, sexualize them even more than what they currently are. Right. And honestly, like, I didn't need to see me in a V-string or me with my chest that's like down to my belly button. I think all four of us are strong, badass characters who are sexy, and you don't have to make us naked to make us sexy.
Very good point. Yeah. Right. Very good point.
I think what I love about, games in general, like it's everyone, these characters aren't ours anymore. Maggie said this before, like once it's out there, it's, it's something that we made, it's something that we're part of, but it's everyone else's, and how people interpret, interact with, enjoy, discover characters and stories. That's just part of what we do as entertainers. Like we create stories, and then you let it go, and then people, modders, like there's so much in game world too of other people bringing in their own creativity and craziness and wacky ideas and silliness. So I tend to just sort of like let it, pass on and be like, sweet, like love to see everyone being so stoked in however they interpret whatever they're enjoying. Because there's so many different communities that have popped up appreciating these characters from so many perspectives. And I love that. I love the perspective switching. It's really, really lovely. It makes us wholer people and better artists.
Yeah, and I like the way you said that it's you made the characters, you helped develop the characters, but once you're done with it, the characters belong to the gamers at that point, because we're the ones that are always going to be interacting with them. Your work is done. You've done your best to develop these amazing characters for us to enjoy, but from just the player's perspective, that they're always going to stick with the player.
It's out of our hands now. We let them go.
Yeah.
Be free.
Unilove Gomez says, I love Resident Evil. I'm playing RE8 right now on my channel, and I love the references it has to each of the games, especially RE4, my favorite. And there are a lot of Resident Evil 4. Nicole, you're pretty familiar with the franchise. Becky, you said you're familiar with Capcom and their work. Maggie, how familiar are you with the Resident Evil franchise as a whole? Are you guys familiar with 4 and the inspirations that it took from 4, and that we're probably going to see, if they ever remake 4, we're going to see some of that come back into it?
I'm not, so I'm going to pass this question off to the people who might know something.
Definitely, there are more people that are more experienced than I am. But I have seen some of the correlations, and I know a lot of people really appreciated Village because it had some things that really reminded them.
Exactly. Yeah.
RE4.
Becca, have you played any of their Resident Evil games before, or are you just familiar with the franchise?
No, I'm familiar with the franchise, and I am the worst gamer on the planet. By far, I was playing Resident Evil 8. I was playing The Village, and it's hilarious to watch me. So, it's because I'm just so bad. The gamers, kudos to you. They put in their 10,000 hours. They are, because I'm like, okay, X. Oh wait, up, head up. Oh, I fell over. Wait a minute. I'm literally just. I was telling someone the other day. I was playing with an X. I think we played Zelda Link's Awakening, and I couldn't even stay alive. I kept just falling off the cliff. I am just so embarrassed. I think I've spent my life, maybe like Maggie, just really trying to hone in on acting,
right, and
not spending diligent time, because gamers have mad skills. I mean, they are good at what they do. One of my friend's little 6-year-old nephews is better than anyone I've ever seen, because he's it's intuitive. He's been doing it, since he was 4, and he's so fast. And I'm like, yeah, you go.
Yep. Say the same thing with my son. He's grown up, me being a gamer, he's grown up with me, so he loves video games. And yeah, his level of skills are way beyond mine at his age by far.
Right? Because it's something that, if you have in your hands since you're a little kid, you get really good at something that you practice it for a long time.
Right.
It's a skill set, just like anything else. And people have really spent time to hone in this craft. This is a craft, for a lot of people. And I'm not good at this craft.
You are good at your craft. Your craft is great.
Yeah. Well, and Becca, I mean, I bet you'd be amazing at it if you wanted to put in the hours and time. It just takes a little patience.
And then I'd have to stop probably acting, because it takes a lot of hours and time to get good at this.
Yeah, I guess it does.
It got to the point where I was dying so often in The Village that I passed my controller over to my friend so that he could, because I wanted to see more of the game. And I'm like, I'm never going to get through this. I'm like, you just please take over.
Just get me to the castle. I want to see our work.
Exactly. I'm dying.
That's what you got to jump on with Nicole for her streams, and then do it together.
Then it would just be for entertainment for people.
Right.
They'd be frustrated for me, or maybe with me. I'm not sure. I hope people have grace, and they'd be like, "Oh, poor chap."
Well, we do have a lot of super chats, but we're running low on time here, so I'll try and pick out a few more, and then we'll wrap it up so you ladies can get back to your days. I know you've got some things going on here pretty quick that you got to get to, and then we can bring you back on, hopefully for another date, and get into more of this. I want to bring the cast back together for a reunion, and then we've got, events that we'd like to plan throughout the year, so it would be nice to have everyone on again and spend some time together. Let's go through some of these real quick here. I guess while I'm looking through these, if you want to name off any kind of social media, or Nicole, we know your Twitch, but for people who don't know of your Twitch channel or anything coming up, maybe autograph sessions with Streamly, just projects you're working on, anything you want to talk about. We'll start with Maggie.
Oh gosh. Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm new to the social media scene, but I am on Twitter and Instagram at Maggie the Bard, and we do have some awesome autograph signings coming up, so like definitely check those out. We're going to be doing a House Dimitrescu trio signing on June 6th.
Nice.
Got it right. And then and then Neil and I are going to have like a sibling rivalry duo signing, which will be super fun on May 29th. So go and check those out. You can go to, I think, streamily.com/Maggie Robertson or streamily.com/Resident Evil question mark to get at everyone's good old stuff.
Oh, your camera auto-focused again.
Well, boo.
Oh, it's back.
It's back. It's back.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it is June 6th, and that's the Dimitrescu family signing session. So everybody, if you want to get some autographs from all three of them at the same time, get a nice piece of work that has all of them featured, go ahead and jump on that and go to Streamly and see what the prices are. Book your thing beforehand so they know what they need to produce. Support the women. Support the characters. How about you, Becca? Anything coming up you can talk about, or your social media and stuff that you would like to promote so people can go keep in touch with you?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm flying out to do a film. It's a short film, so it's not. We'll be picking up
work is work.
my time,
Work is work.
I'll be like heading off. So I'll be like, bye guys, gonna pack my bag and go. But I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's not as cool as Maggie the Bard. It's just at Becca Pruitt. BEKA PREWITT. I know, not special. I need a cooler one, right? So maybe you can write in and tell me some cooler.
We'll workshop it.
Workshop it.
Yeah, workshop. Give me some good handles, people. Right now it's just Becca Pruitt to find me easily. And yeah, the Streamly, and also I guess it's streamly.com/Becca Pruitt. We all created shops. Thanks for the direction of Nicole, because Maggie and I were like, how do we do this? What? A shop? Okay, what? And so Nicole has been a godsend. She's really guided us through as novices here, the process of how to do promotions. And because people are like asking for things, and I'm like, oh, how do I do this? Nicole,
is that a thing?
How do I get this picture? Nicole. So Nicole has been our guide.
Yeah, she's definitely got the experience. A year's worth. She's been going crazy with it. So
the experience and then the generosity to sit us down and walk us through step by step, because we were clueless and fielding all of our like frantic texts being like, what does this mean? What do I do?
People want this. How do I do that?
What is how do I find a high res image?
They don't need that much help. They're both killing it on their own. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, same. I'm at Nikki Lee Tompkins on Instagram and Twitter. Twitch.tv/Nicole Tompkins. I am currently playing through Resident Evil Village by week. It's on Wednesdays. That might change, but it's on Wednesdays for now. Feel free to come hang out. I'm trying to bring on actors from the game as we play through. We have these big live signs coming up. Streamly.com/Resident Evil. You can go see everyone's prints. Becca's, Maggie's, Neil's. I think Paula Rhodes might have something popping in there as well. Jeff Shine is in there for Chris Redfield stuff. So
Michelle is in there. I think most of the cast is. I believe everyone might have a page. Yeah,
so there's a ton of live sign, and then obviously like streamly.com/Nicole Tompkins. Anyone's name, you'll find their individual shop. But Resident Evil has all of the prints if you want to go look through and take a gander. And yeah, that's pretty much it as far as future projects and stuff. Follow on social media, and when I can talk about them, I will.
For sure. And for everyone, I apologize. We had a lot of super chats come through, and I would like to get to all of them, but we just don't have the time for it. I want to thank everyone for your support. If I didn't answer your question or have your question asked, make sure do it on social media. Go follow, ask it on social media. I'm sure the ladies here will take the time to respond to as many people as they can. There's a lot of great questions in there. I just can't get to all of them. Thank you again, all of you, for giving me your time, for coming on here and hanging out. It's a blast. I love having these big group sessions too, because all of you have such interesting stories together and apart, and it's nice to share all of them in this group setting. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having us. Honestly, it's been super fun, and I want to thank my mom and my sister, because it's an honor to have worked with both of you in this game and to be a part of this with you.
Just one big happy family.
Aw, mommy loves you.
In an interview, they're like, well, who's your favorite, like of the, the lords? And I'm like, I had to say my
Yeah.
Is that even a question? I mean,
Disappointed if we say her.
family loyalty, come on. Or if not, Lady D is gonna get mad, and you don't want her to get
Yeah,
mad.
you definitely don't. Just ask Ethan.
Although people are talking about a prequel because they're like, why did the sisters die so quickly? You know, and they're like, I'm like, well, maybe in my mind, I'm like, maybe we can come back to life. Maybe even though we've been crushed, you know, we can form again. The flies or whatever, the insects come back,
Yeah.
or a prequel, you know, to see the backstory of, you know, what they've created. You know, like, oh, yeah.
There's definitely a lot of talk about people wanting DLC prequels because all the characters are so intriguing that we want to see more of just them. Not Ethan's story. We've got to experience that. We want the house's stories, how they became who they are. You know, the whole mystery behind the Dimitrescu family and the castle and the things that were done there really is a lot to expand upon in its own, you know, content. Would be great to have. But hopefully, but who knows?
Agreed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Again, if you guys want to see that, let Capcom know. They don't know unless the fans say something. You guys really are the ones who drive the franchise. They make their decisions, but their decisions are impacted by your voices. So make sure you guys speak up.
True.
Right?
Very, very true. Stay warm, my friends. You know, keep the windows shut.
Keep the windows shut. Okay, well, thank you again, and we will most likely be talking again hopefully real soon. Go support the women on their social media. Go support them on Streamly. Go support Nicole on her streams, and Maggie, if Becca, if you guys start streaming sometime soon, if you get into it, make sure we'll promote that as well. And I just want to say thanks again. Thanks to everyone who watched. I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in more for the Residents of Evil.
Awesome.